Charlie Kirk's death really affected me when I heard about it. I found out about it before they quite announced it, and then within maybe 2 minutes, I couldn't believe the guy was dead. I couldn't help but hear of him. It was huge. Not my politics, but I've been thinking a lot about why I think it's gone on for so long, the mourning of him, and we yet to see whether it's really going to have an actual effect, but it would appear that it is going to. And this is why I think it's such a big deal. That we used to have in the First World War and Second World War, England, France, Germany, and they're always fighting each other, or Europeans were led to believe were always fighting the Chinese or the Africans or something like that. There were Indians and there were Aborigines in Australia, Native Americans. And someone said, once we've got nuclear weapons, if we don't learn to get on, that's the end of humanity. And they're probably right about that. So we're going to have to mingle. We're going to have to be able to travel. I was going to have to get to work out how a Japanese person worked. Now we're going to have to work out how I worked. And the solution was tolerance and freedom of speech. John Stuart Mill's On Liberty, which is that book there, said something along the lines of the whole world is no more righteous in silencing one man than a one man is in silencing the whole world if he could, because all we have to gain and lose by letting the one man speak or the whole world speak is to exchange error for truth. There's always been this idea that you could have this average street in which you had like a fundamentalist Christian, a fundamentalist Muslim, a nihilistic atheist, some tribal living Aborigines, some communist Chinese, and the rest of them on a single street. And if you had some speaker's corner, each one could get up and say why they thought what was true, and then eventually we'd get to some sort of solution, some sort of consensus, if you will, that we built over a long period of time, as long as we had freedom of speech and tolerance. And then someone, Justin Trudeau, perhaps said, no, it's not just an average street, it's an ideal street. The ideal situation is to have a street like that, a street with only Chinese or only Muslims or only Amish people on it, was a substandard street. The diverse street is our strength. Diversity is our strength, they said. And anyone that balked at that was called a bigot. And I was convinced of it, yeah. And I'm still down for it. I still think that I can make myself understood. And I still think that I can listen to you and you can listen to me. And we can grow closer together. We may never be like this, but if we're like this is where the bombs start dropping, right? And I think we can get closer. And that was an ideal. And certain people, I believe they called liberals, sold that to us. They said, put down your weapons, put away your borders, put away your culture, put away your customs, put away all your defenses, let everyone else in. Let everyone else in. Once they're in, it will be the best of situations. That guy there, no one was more keen to share his ideas and listen to others than to meet in the middle than this guy. And he said, what, women bear primary responsibility for raising the kids? I've had 2 kids. You try being a man and sneaking in the baby's room. They know it's mum. The first thing they don't know that they've got a nose on their face. They don't know how to eat without throwing food everywhere, but damn, they know the difference between mum and dad. Now I'm open to the idea that women's primary responsibility when kids come along is to take care of the kids while dad goes to work. That does make an amount of sense to me. I'm all for people choosing what they want to do. What else did he say? That the Equality Act made us stop seeing that we wanted to help a person that needed help, see people that were poor or see people that were sick because they were poor, because they were sick, because they needed help, then we would help them. The Equality Act said, no, you first must take into account skin color or gender or religion or something like that, and then make a decision. And the decision will be at the government's behest, and the decision to help them will be made in accordance with UN policy or must receive government funding and be held in a certain sort of way. I can understand why a person would be anti that. I don't think he's been taken in context when he said that. What else did he say? He said that if you had a test and the top 20 people went on to fly planes, and you had this test and the top 20 people were about to go off and fly planes, but you said, no, 5 of you get out, we're going to take 5 who didn't pass the test and on they go. Yeah, I don't want to be flying with them. That's not that unreasonable. This guy lived that liberal dream, even though he's not liberal. He took up their, I'm sure Christians believe it too, but their idea that you can convince people without war, without violence. You can convince people with words, and he did it. And someone, whatever this person's motivation was, killed him for it. They didn't kill him. One person killed him. But I do believe that they exercised reckless rhetoric, whoever they are. They exercised reckless rhetoric in the lead up to the shot that made it easier to shoot him. I mean, my whole life I've been told that if I refer to women as tits and ass or Sheilas or whatever the hell a person might say, that dehumanizes, and I agree it does. And if I refer to a person as a refugee, oh, there's that refugee over there. No, there's that human being over there. They didn't do it for this guy. Far right, neo-Nazi, extremist. No. Charlie Kirk. He was a person. But suddenly those rules got put aside. And after the shot, boy, have they mocked him. Don't tell me they haven't mocked him. You've seen the videos, and I certainly won't be wasting my time editing to cut them in here. But he has been mocked in his death. His poor widow, his poor kids. I got kids. My kids are nearly double figures. They'll remember me. That's like, you tick a box in life, you know. My kids will remember me, tick. I hate to say it. I hear this guy's kids were 1 and 3. It's terrible. It's the worst. They won't remember him. They killed, well, this one guy killed that guy before his kids got old enough to be able to remember what dad smelled like or looked like or sounded like. And that's the fucking saddest thing. That's the fucking saddest thing ever. Are these people that mock? I don't hate them too much because they haven't worked that out yet. They've got a nightmare coming when they work out the things that they said and the harm that they caused. Anyway, I must conclude. I'm still down for the freedom of speech thing. I still think I can convince you of my ideas. I don't know if I can do it with words. I'll have to do it with art. I might have to do it over a long period of time. And I might have to be done abstractly, and it might take more than just one person. But if you're keen to talk and you're keen to listen, I am still too. All right, R.I.P. Charlie Kirk.